Welcome to Filtered Thru Coffee, the podcast hosted by two dope Black officiants. As wedding officiants, we pour our hearts into every love story we tell, and this podcast is no different. So grab your favorite mug, pour yourselves a cup, and join us in rich wedding conversations that are for us, by us.
Welcome back to another episode of Filtered Thru Coffee, the podcast where candid wedding conversations are brewed with authenticity and some culture, of course. I'm Reverend Whitney-Marie, your West Coast wedding officiant and owner of Rev I Do Officiating. And I have with me my incredible co-host, Tiara Bryant, your East Coast wedding officiant and owner of Royal Treatments with Tiara. Now, who's sipping with us today? Everybody y'all got y'all mugs? Because today's conversation is for the melanated. Whether you are a dreaming couple or a veteran vendor or an inquiring mind, this conversation is for you. Because we have today the incomparable Camille Cade, a social media aficionado who thrives on storytelling, community engagement, and brand cultivation. She currently spearheads marketing campaigns for the leading wedding industry brand, Wedding Pro. And her ultimate mission? It's amplifying voices of underrepresented communities through impactful brand building. So, all that to say, she dope AF, y'all, okay? So, welcome, Camille. Please tell us more about yourself and why you said yes to the podcast.
I feel like I can't follow up that intro. That's better than the intro that I wrote for myself. I will be stealing that for future engagement, but we'll say the source. So, just like Whitney said, my name is Camille Cade. I am a senior social and community specialist at The Knot Worldwide. And in case you are not familiar, The Knot Worldwide really has a brand to celebrate every part of your life, from birthday parties to planning a wedding to even preparing to be a parent, and every celebration in between. Within our global wedding marketplace, we connect over 4 million couples each year to about 900,000 vendors. Wow. So we're busy. We're doing a lot.
Busy.
So I work on the Wedding Pro side of the house. We launched Wedding Pro in 2019, and this is really our business to business brand that has also become the largest community of wedding professionals that there is. And so Wedding Pro unifies The Knot and Wedding Wire to give vendors easy access to all of those amazing couples that come to our site and drive optimal booking opportunities for those couples as well. And again, like Whitney perfectly eloquently said, in my role, I have the privilege of managing marketing campaigns for our social networks, as well as managing the Fellowship for Change program, which is how I met the two of you.
Bam, bam. and
I love that.
And not only do I love that, I would like to pause here and say thank you.
Yeah.
Because literally me and Tiara, we were like, girl, if it wasn't for Camille, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like, we did not know each other. We are literally on two different coasts.
Yeah.
And we realized like we needed each other in ways where this podcast started when we called it FUBU time. Yeah. We needed each other. Like we literally were like, hey, Tiara was like, we're friends. And I said, You're right. And then and then we kept connecting and we were like, wait a minute, if we need this time, we know that other people need this time. And so that's how the podcast was birthed, but it was also started in the cohort of Fellowship for Change. So thank you, Camille.
Yeah, I have to echo Whitney loudly with a microphone, megaphone, whatever. Right, exactly. At the top of the mountains. Because, Fellowship for Change was such an amazing program just for me and my business. But to go in there and find a community of other wedding pros, other peers who were in my vendor type as well as others, and just building a relationship, like that's been cultivated through all the time that you pour into us. And I would just immensely be grateful for Wedding Pro for getting me in like my first 2 years and like anchoring me into an industry and a career that I love, that I found creativity in and opportunities for, others. So go ahead, Camille, do your thing.
Oh, like clearly you doing something.
Don't get too much.
Listen, I will light it up.
Okay. I love that. So we would love for you to join us in our newest segment called the Kiki Corner. It is where our expert guest, you, will answer rapid fire questions to help wedding planning couples. But the catch is you only have 60 seconds to answer.
Ooh.
You ready? Listen, Whitney be timing people. I'll be letting people rock, but Whitney will time you. Okay?
Oh, I'm ready. Me and Alexa are like, are you ready for this?
Okay.
Ready. Okay, perfect. So our first question is, what's your take on the rising trend of couples adding surprise or interactive moments to their wedding day?
Ooh, big fan.
Yes.
It's easy yes for me. I am here as a frequent wedding guest. I'm not at the altar yet, the planning stages yet. We're here for guest experience. So shock me, surprise me. I want to be in awe. Like, I'm here for the trend. I'm here for that.
I love that. Okay, cool.
So you even have 40 seconds left. Look at you. Okay, look.
Wrap it.
She said, I said wrap it.
Yes. All right, awesome. So as you said, you are a frequent wedding guest. You work in the wedding industry. So what are some cool and unique ways that you've seen couples personalize their reception, whether it's experiences or decor? What have you seen out here? Give some inspo to our planning couples.
Yes. I was telling you earlier, I recently went to a wedding in the Philippines. And what I really appreciated was how intentional all of their extra little details were. So they had like a logo as a couple, like a branded logo that was everywhere. They did temporary tattoos. It was the backdrop of the photo booth. Like, it was so it was on the napkins, just intricate details. I said, clever. And I'm here for it because each thing they incorporated, even there was like a game, like we did kind of like a people bingo, like find someone who's left-handed.
I love that idea.
We were able to like co-mingle and really make friends. And again, I'm here for the guest experience. So incorporate all the things you like to do as a couple into your reception so we can further understand you and celebrate you and just be here for you.
I love that.
And then ding, 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 ding. Look, right on the money, honey.
Oh, that was so good. Love that. Love that.
Really good.
Yeah. So what's your hot take on the importance of finding vendors that are in alignment with the couple's vision and values?
I feel like, is there even really a hot take? I feel like that's a must.
Yes,
is that not like a must do? Like, outside of finding someone within your budget, and I'll put the quotes because that's subject to change.
Yes.
Finding vendors that are in alignment with your vision and your values, to me, is like the basic. Like, that is a must do. I don't think there's any other way, because especially knowing that Gen Z is like the next wave to get married, they do not play when it comes to values and when it comes to authenticity. Like, they can't fake the funk and be around someone where it's not a match, like with vibes. Yeah. So I feel like there's no other way to go, really. You gotta find your
lock in. Yep.
Authenticity. I love it.
Oh, yes, that is so good. Okay, so because we know you are obviously a Wedding Pro expert, what should couples look for on Wedding Pro's storefront before reaching out for a consultation?
You're trying to give me a little plug. I'm gonna take that. Thank you. Yep. Read those reviews.
Yep.
Get those reviews together. They are not here for no reason. And as y'all both know, y'all work hard to get the couples to come through with the testimonials, with the reviews. So that's what you should be looking for. Like, if you want to understand how someone really is, outside of their pictures and all the other great things on their website or their storefront, check out those reviews to see what was the experience really like.
That's real.
I love that. Yeah, that was a good one.
Because the pictures be cute, but
Period.
that review would be like,
I love that. I love that. Okay, last question. And this is one that I know couples are going to love. How can real couples get their real weddings featured on Wedding Wire or The Knot?
Yes. So typically, and this is for couples, yes, but more so for photographers, because they're typically the ones submitting. You basically just need to submit to our platform called Two Bright Lights. And then from there, our amazing editorial team kind of go through and see what would be a really good fit for us. But I think, and I don't know if I can add like a link to this lovely podcast, but we have resources that explain like what we're looking for in terms of like the style, the decor, things like that, photography style, so that you'll know if you'd be a good fit to be selected. But it's really as easy as that. Like, work with your photographer, let them know you want to submit, and go from there.
I love that.
Okay. So I mean, you guys still had 10 seconds. Like you are she said, look, we don't have to be long-winded to be fire.
We love a concise response. You know, I work in social. We can't have that many characters. You know,
that's real. That's real. Okay. So now that we've done our Kiki Corner, we're going to transition more into our conversation. And to our audience, what we had dropped earlier was Fellowship for Change, right? And they're probably like, what is that? What is going on? And why y'all over here gassing her up about this Fellowship for Change program? And so please tell the people why we gassing you up. Like, what is this program? And then also, what is the driving force behind its creation? So what is it and what's the why behind it?
Sure. Definitely. So the program was launched in 2021, but there were years of work going into it beforehand, just like to set the scene. This was really Wedding Pro's attempt and our response to create real change in the industry and our effort to change the face of the wedding industry. And so that's how Wedding Pro was born. That's how Fellowship for Change was born. And we also partnered with some of our amazing advisory board members that really helped give us the insights on what underrepresented business owners need, what would actually be helpful to business owners that are from underrepresented backgrounds in their first 5 years of business. Is it mentorship? Is it education? Is there a financial need? Like, those conversations really went into crafting what you all experienced as the Fellowship for Change program. And so where we really landed is they need all those things. So it's not just
all of the above.
All of the above. It was option D, all of the above, not just one. So we offer 12 months of business education covering topics from branding to getting your finances in order, which is very important. So even selling and like setting up your storefront. We also partner you with a mentor. So a lot of factors go into how we do all of our mentor-mentee pairings, but we try to partner you with someone who's an expert in what your area of interest is. So if you want to learn all about selling, that's who we're partnering you up with, a selling expert. If you want to change out your branding and really like lock in with a marketing plan, we're putting you with a marketing expert. Also, we look for someone that's in your category and ideally in your region so that you can meet in person and really connect. There's also networking opportunities, and I feel like that's how you all met. We do Slack conversations and Slack chats. We also have a bi-monthly happy hour where we just kiki and talk and catch up and get to know each other and make connections like this. And last but not least, we provide a year of free advertising on The Knot and Wedding Wire to really give your business a boost, to really show you what advertising can do for your business. And so that is all that comes with the fellowship. We are in our 4th year now, which feels crazy. Oh my gosh, in our 4th year now, and we just got our feedback from your class of 2023, and right now we're sitting at 100% satisfaction rate for our respondents from that survey. So doing well.
Let's go.
I love that. Yeah, I want to say that was probably the most impactful part of the program for me, is that it was almost like holistic, right? You wasn't just talking about the education, right? Because there you guys offer live educational monthly webinars, right? So I can go and get education that way on your blog sites and things like that. It's about the mentorship and like matching me up with someone on a one-on-one basis that's able to understand what I want to do with my business, how I want to show up for my couples, what splash I want to make in the wedding industry, and how are my unique selling points actually unique, and like how do I communicate that, right? So like that's the mentorship piece. And then also the financials. When you're first starting out, it's a little scary out there, I ain't gonna hold you. And it's a lot of ways where you can mismanage your finances at the beginning of your business, and that will make an impact, you know, in the long run. So I think that was my favorite thing about the program, is that it kind of covered all of these bases, because you can find one, you know, individualized here, there, all these different places, but with you, we get like the full package and that level of support for 12 months. Like that's a good amount of time. And so with the program, I know this is now, what would this be? Your 3rd class, your 4th class currently?
Oh, this is it feels like officially, like this feels like my 2nd class, like full cycles and everything. You all were like my first class, like like really in terms of like from applications to graduation. So I feel like we're on my 2nd, but it's the 4th overall.
And to piggyback off of what Tiara said about the program, my wife for coming to the program, I appreciate, like I was towards the top of, like, I was one of the older people that had been in the program, because it was like 1 to 3 years, and I was like on my 3rd year. And so like the first few months, I think my wife for coming in was different because I had the storefront up. I had, you know, so I had a lot of the things that were being offered, but I did not have community. And so as much as the lives were helpful and all of the information was like, oh, I can finesse this, I realized that my why for coming in was I did not see anybody who looked like me. And to be able to hop on a call or in a Slack channel or even in some DMs or text messages, and I know that the person on the other end looks like me or has some type of been there, I'm like, wow. So it's interesting how the Fellowship for Change program brings all the dynamics that you were talking about here, the holistic piece, because I was needing community. Yes, my financials could also be finessed, but nah, I needed to see somebody who looked like me, who could say, I've been there, I've done that, or I haven't been there and I haven't done that, but I look like you. And so I just really needed the visuals. And so that community piece was my 100% satisfaction. So that was for me. That part they said, yes, thank you. So all of the other, this was great. And the people. And as you can see, I'm a people person. And look, I found one of my persons right here. Like, so thank you for allowing me to see me and then to be able to have community even beyond the graduation.
I love that.
Look, we give folks flowers. Okay. So please take these flowers, water them, and know that it feels good to have been your inaugural,
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And this is the feedback from the inaugural baby.
Right.
It's only up. It's only
up.
From glory to glory. Let's go.
I love that. So let's talk about up. You know what I mean? Like, what does that look like for the Fellowship for Change program? what future aspirations do you have for the program? And being that it is fairly new, I'm sure that you've made some changes from when you guys first started to where you are now to where you're headed. So if you can, we would love for you to just share a little bit about where the Fellowship for Change is going so I can see if I can reapply in a couple of years.
Honestly.
Okay.
So that is a great point, Tiara. Like, the program is new, 4 years in, still very young program in the grand scheme of things. And you all know this about me, but I want alumni feedback to shape the future of this program, because who knows better what we need, what you all need as business owners from underserved backgrounds better than you all.
Right.
So I would love for there to be a continuation or a next step path for our alums. This year, we're actually running a pilot program where we bring in the alums almost as ambassadors. And I know you both are looped into that little experiment. And I've already heard amazing feedback, because when you start out in the fellowship, I don't know if you all felt this way, but I think you don't really know what to expect. Like, so we signed up, we promised you some things, but you're like, what do I do other than going to the education sessions and meeting with my mentor? Like, how can I make a connection like this? Or how can I get to know someone who's in my area, but not my category? Like, how to navigate that. And so that's really what I call on you all for, is to be like another set of arms to wrap around our current class of fellows, because they have a mentor, they have Wedding Pro, but they need like when you said it perfectly, like how can they really establish and grow and feel embraced by community? And so that's really what the ambassador pilot program is hopefully doing for the fellows this year. In terms of changes, we also added 4 education topics. So it used to only right.
That's why I need my second round.
I'm done. I'm gonna add things.
Right.
But it used to only be 8. And this year it is 12. So we're giving a full year of education, like every single month. And again, like, we added topics that you all said you felt were missing. Whether that's like legal or specifically looking into social media versus like the umbrella of marketing. We now broke those out into 2 different months. So we really, again, just like let your feedback lead in terms of the decision making and the changes. And I like dream state. Another piece of feedback I keep getting is that you all want to come together in person. You want to embrace each other, and you want to feel the feels of community in real life. And so, like, dream state, ideal state, next steps, would love to figure out what an in-person situation would look like.
Girl, I said retreat. And
bless you. That's so politically correct, and she wasn't even trying to be. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
See, Whitney. So, well, okay, now that I've retreat. Let's see what that would look like, where that would be, how that would fit into the program, who all would be in the room, like all those details. Would love to incorporate that and infuse that into the program moving forward.
Love that. That would be so good. That would be so good.
I know.
Again, I love being looped in.
Yeah, I've connected with you individually, like in LA and then in New York, like at our Wedding Pro events, whether it's our socials or Wedding Pro experiences. But to have something that's just for the fellowship, the power in that room.
Listen. And speaking of power, right? Like, that is a space that is full of what I would say success. in so many different ways. So what are some of the success stories from the Fellowship for Change program that you've received, and how do you measure success in the industry and in your work?
Yes, that is such a good question. So I have a couple answers, and I'm going to call you out as well when I can.
No.
My favorite. So in terms of measuring success with our like high level overall goal, which is to change the face of the industry, that's something that our company is really looking into this year, is like, how can we gauge that impact?
Absolutely.
What is the makeup currently today of the wedding industry in terms of pros and vendors? What was it? Have we moved the needle there? Can we like attribute any of the movement to our program? All those things, like our company is digging into those insights right now and trying to figure out how best to really gauge and measure that. But in terms of just within the program, how I look at metrics and how we measure success, we send out surveys. You all have filled them out. You know how it goes. We send out surveys, and that's why we know we have 100% satisfaction rate currently. And then we also look into what success means in terms of how did this program impact your business. And so through your storefronts, we're able to see the increases in leads, and we also ask in the survey as well. And so for your class of 2023, we saw a 93% increase in leads on average from the beginning of the program to the end. So markers like that let us know
we're doing something right.
We're heading in the right direction there. And then just in terms of just a couple success stories, a pair of videographers from our first year, they are called Modern Love Productions. They actually just got awarded and honored as one of our ones to watch, which is what our editorial team puts out. They look for innovators, advocates, connectors in the industry that are making a difference, and we honor them every year. And so I feel like that really speaks to what this program can do for your business. I also look at the people in the room with me, and this is what the program can do for you, for your business, for your network. You can find your person. You can add new products and offerings. You can have your first event and collaboration in your area. You can dip into a new market across the country. You know,
yes, I do remember doing that.
So there's some success stories in the room with me right now.
Amen. And
there's so many more. I even think about the people that you all know in your networks that you've referred to apply to the program that are in the program right now. They already have like an understanding of the importance of this program. And so they are hitting the ground running, running, sprinting, working the room, going to our events, going to our webinars, like digging in fully and like fully committing to the program in a way that I feel like I've never seen, because they already have you all and they already know the success that they've seen with the program through you all. So it's spreading, I fear. The impact is spreading. Like, I'm sitting back and watching it happen, like figuring out how we should measure this. But all these anecdotes are just like signs that we're heading for sure in the right direction.
I love that. And the one thing that is so special about the Wedding Pro Fellowship for Change program is, like you said, the intentionality behind it, right? You are looking for underrepresented wedding pros, right? So people who already just feel like they need a little bit more again, focus, creativity, structure, just what they need additional support around. And then secondly, you are, getting people who are within the first 5 years of their business, right? So they're essentially babies, guppies, trying to figure out, do I like it? Do I love it? Do I pivot? Is this my market? Is this my, is this what I need to be doing? And you create opportunity and space for them to kind of figure that out. And I think that's super special, especially for us as minority business owners. So I would love to know, what strategies do you recommend for minority business owners to really stand out? So I think this program teaches you that with the one-on-one mentorship, with the education, with the support for being creative and doing creative things in your actual business. But maybe they're not able to get into the program. Maybe they heard about it too late and I got to apply next year. What are some recommendations, strategies that you can give them now, especially being the social media expert and brand strategist that you are?
That's
okay. Throw some things out there for the people.
Definitely. So first, obviously, shameless plug, apply for the program.
Yes.
But also, check out the resources that Wedding Pro has, because we have monthly webinars. We have a blog full of all these small business owner content pieces that will give you the keys to standing out and increasing your leads and finding your ideal client and all of those things and more. So look for the free resources. But in terms of standing out, I would say really figure out who you want to be in this industry, right? And figure out who you want your clients to be and use that as your North Star. It's so easy to just copy someone or do what's trendy but at least from an outside perspective, I feel like that's kind of when sometimes imposter syndrome comes into the room. You are not standing on your own why. Things get
yes. Okay. Yes. No. Speak to it.
Please.
We're not certain, and especially because we're speaking about underserved groups. The feeling of I have to be twice as good. It's just there's too many. You
nuances.
There's too much noise. You feel like you have to be twice as good. You feel like you're not qualified to be there. Maybe your pricing is too high. All those things. If you align with your purpose, your gifts, your talents, and who you're trying to serve, you can stand firm on all those other business decisions. And for me, it's less about standing out and more standing up for the person and the pro that you want to be. Stand on, I was gonna say stand on business, but
stand on business. That's what I was gonna say. Stand on business.
But also stand on your values, your interests, your gifts, your talents. That is going to attract, especially now, again, bringing Gen Z back into the conversation. They can see through and just the trendy this, the trendy that. It's tired. Stand on business.
Yes. 10 toes. You're going to be 10 toes down or not. Yeah, that was true. But wait, hold on. Before you go, I love how you spoke to that, right? Because you're right. It's a lot of things that we, are up against, and a lot of them are internal, right? So it's figure out internally before, you go out there and get confused. Because that's what happens. You go out there, you get confused, you get jaded, things look shiny. And so then you're having trouble attracting your core audience because you don't know, who they are, because they're looking for you to show them who you are. But too busy looking around. Yeah, you're too busy looking around. You don't know who you are. So how are they going to find you when they don't know where you at and you don't know where you at? So no. You did that.
That's a word, baby. Oh my gosh. I'm looking for my tambourine.
Right.
Focus on yourself.
Focus on yourself. That's real.
Thank you for both of y'all for bringing that up, because I feel like that just released me from some things, because that's true. Because it's stand on your own why. Stand on your business and stand. And that's what I think I really love about this community, because we're having these conversations. But where else will we have these conversations Like who having these conversations and look like us?
Yeah.
To be able to have a Kiki corner, to stand on business, to be able to understand what it is.
Right.
Like all of those things.
Yeah.
And so holding all of that, right? And holding, our branding and just who we are as individuals and as a business. Is there a difference between a personal and a professional brand? And particularly for us, and you can define us at will, but is there a difference of personal and professional branding for us?
Yeah.
That is such a good question. And honestly, this came up already in the Fellowship for Change with this class. And one of our fellows, Jasmine, was talking about how the idea of professionalism can be rooted in so many things that we are not aligned with anymore.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So yes, I think we were specifically talking about it was now it's all coming back to me. It was a call with Dawn Mamone from our advisory board, specifically about showing up as your authentic self.
Yeah.
And in regards to your business, your branding, but like aligning with yourself first and foremost, like aligning with your true self. And that's when that conversation came up around professionalism. People in the room were worried if I say y'all in an email, I'm not being professional.
Right.
If I quote lyrics to a song at the end as like in my email signature, or if I, lead with a movie quote or what have you, now I'm not being professional.
Like there's respectability, like the respectability politics, the micro. Yeah, it's all of that.
And it's feeling very that. So to answer your question about like, is there a difference between a personal and a professional brand, specifically for the like wedding pro space, I feel like your personal brand is your brand.
Yeah.
Like just period.
Yeah.
That you're in an event planning, you're in a celebratory space already. And so to show up as your full self, I don't want to say is already professional, but it's like you're showing up as your full self and you're showing up to work. So to me, that's seeming as professional as you really need to get. Like, I don't think you need to button up and do what you were taught is correct and all those things in order to show up as yourself. And then it ties back to the ideal client. Maybe they want to be referred to as y'all. They want you to speak how you would like to speak. They want to hear, they want to hear, meet me at the altar in your white dress. You know? They want that. They want to see who you all fully are. And not just get like the Microsoft Word press release speak like
the chat GPT, version.
Yes.
You have to infuse yourself in everything that you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's like, yes, they're booking you and your services, but they're booking you like as a person.
Yeah.
So
that's so good.
For what you will. Like,
well, and that and it also speaks to basically what I'm getting, it's the same thing. You are your business. And with that being said, does that mean you're always on?
No, is this when we talk about boundaries? Is that this part?
Absolutely. Yep.
Let's talk about it.
Okay. It's popular opinion, boundaries.
Listen, and I'm taking notes. Let me grab my notebooks.
And this is even like for me, being an extrovert and having being an extrovert, being always on, boundaries, they all need to have a marriage, if you will. They need to come together because, for me, this sounds crazy, but like maybe not your personality, but like maybe you being on and like so much this has business hours.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe.
My office hours are from 9 to 5.
Period. Yes.
And then it's 6 and you're not, giving the full ooh-ah sensation. Like you're just, or maybe you are to your friends or your family, but the always on, always available, always accessible feels like a slippery slope on that one.
I like that though, because I think for me, it's been, am I always on? Because I'm technically, I've taken what you said. I am my brand, right? Like they see me. So if I'm going to the grocery store or if I'm at this networking event, do I have to, or not even an event, like when I'm out, do I have to always have my business cards on me? Like, do I have to be, and so there is that boundary piece of like, okay, am I in office hours or am I off? And that's been a conversation that like I would like some more support around that. So that could be a conversation for the Fellowship for Change conversation of how do we hold those boundaries when we're entrepreneurs and we aren't punching a clock. And when we work, that's when we make money.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we hoping we got a CRM that's doing something. So I just find like, can you speak to that?
Yeah. And I also feel like it's especially present in people that are like newer in business.
Yeah.
Or who make that pivot from like corporate 9 to 5 to now, what do they say? Oh, I work 24/7 now, 9 to 5, like that whole.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like that's when I think about something that Terica has told me, which is like, you only get 20 yeses for the week.
Oh, yeah.
And when you run out, oh, well.
Yep.
Like, if you use, what did you say your office hours are, Whitney? 9 to 5?
Yeah.
If you work diligently for that 9 to 5 and you set up systems and you get into a good rhythm and you have a CRM and like all those things working for you, or maybe you're working with a team, like whatever the case, I hope and like pray that whatever you're putting in during that time, you feel good about it enough to walk away when it's 5 o'clock and hope that everything you set up and worked so hard on diligently for that time period is now going to work for you. Or like if you have advertising that's on, cool, it's working for you. Like you can hit the road at 5 o'clock, close the computer and keep it moving. Absolutely. And I know there's that like probably anxiety piece about, ooh, but like you said, it's like when I'm working, then I'm making money. And if I'm not working, we don't know really what's going to happen. But hopefully, if all the things are in line and I feel like the program kind of like covers how to get your ducks in a row, then you're on vacation, the leads are still coming in. You know what I'm saying? Like your emails are automatically going out, the leads are coming in, everything's still working, like you're still getting business. And you can set it and forget it once you get to that place. I think in the beginning, you might have to do a little bit running, like to kind of get yourself where you can sustain your business. But we can't compromise the boundaries, y'all.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. That's necessary and super important. And I think, like you said, when you are at the beginning of your business, you're not sure what boundaries to, put up. And I think that was a struggle for me as well. And the fellowship has actually helped me with that. And, my mentor, to be exact. Okay. My girl, that's where she don't play. Okay. She don't play. But I think like 3 things that I can speak to as far as boundaries is like, for me, I have office hours like everybody else, right? Where there's this understanding that to have a meeting, like, yes, I'm available to you, but to have a meeting, it needs to be by appointment. It ain't just call me and then now we're in a meeting. It's hop on this, Calendly schedule. And now we're going to be at a meeting at a convenient time for the both of us, right? So, just having boundaries within there, understanding that weekends are for events. It's I have a lot to do. It's a lot of moving parts, and you want to be as available for this person's event as I'm going to be for you and your event when it's your time. So just having those weekends back and letting that time focus on the client that you're physically going to be, present with. is another thing for me. And then lastly, what I love, and it's going to be a weird boundary, or I don't know if it is a boundary technically, but I'm a millennial, right? So I like to lean in that. So I always tell my couples in the consultations, like, send me a voice note. You can text me, you can send me an email, but I'm a millennial, so I appreciate voice notes. I appreciate like being able to like hear this real quick and respond just as quickly without stopping to type or to get on my computer or anything like that. So that's something that I encourage, with my couples. But again, I'm a younger officiant, so it's a little bit different. But I love to use that to transition into our next question, which is like, when we hear people say like state of the industry, what does that actually mean, and what state is the industry in? Because I feel like we're in a very opportunistic part, like I don't know if it has like ebbs and flows, like we're in like an opportunistic like phase. And I just mean specifically for what I do and for the couples that I support, right? Because for us in the Black community, minority community, like weddings are and marriages is like becoming super important again to us, right? Something that we're prioritizing. And beyond prioritizing it, we're being intentional about who is supporting us on that day, who's going to be sharing that space with us. And again, it might allude also to age, right? Gen Z, the millennials, we are the rebellious generation. We're leaving the jobs, we're talking back, we're creating our own. And so when you have wedding pros that are a part of that generation who are now going out and doing that in the wedding industry, you kind of see like there's like a tide that's turning, but I feel like it's an opportunity type of tide, like, you know what I mean? So what do people mean when they say state of the industry? And then in your professional opinion, where do you think we are right now?
Definitely. That is such a good question. So I'm sure you all remember like 2022 was the wedding boom, the Super Bowl of weddings because of all the pandemic weddings that got postponed until that year. So I feel like right now we're kind of getting back into a flow after that like huge boom. There's definitely, though, I feel like kind of what you were mentioning, like an era of transformation.
Yes,
Like,
it is
that
an era.
yeah,
Yeah.
within the wedding industry. I can definitely see that. Especially again, like you mentioned, with Gen Z getting into the marrying age and then slowly becoming like more of the couples that are getting married than millennials, with them like getting older and moving out. I feel like maybe now, like you mentioned, the younger pros and the couples maybe are seeing eye to eye in some respects, like communication styles, interests, things of that nature. Like, maybe is that what you mean in terms of like we see each other alignment. I would also say with every new generation, because I've learned through working at Wedding Pro, like the same kind of like transformation happened when millennials started entering the room and becoming the marrying age. There was, I don't know, not a freak out, but there was like, oh, they're so different. They communicate differently. They have different expectations. There was all of that discourse. And now it's just happening again for the next generation. So it just happens every time. But what I will say is that the pros that navigate each new generation and are able to continue to thrive in business are the ones that are open to the trends, that are open to meeting that generation where they are, and being flexible to the different communication styles, the different expectations, things like that. Like even with Gen Z, a lot of the weddings are being paid for or covered financially by their parents. And so maybe now, like with your marketing, you need to figure out how to market to their parents a little bit more so than just speaking to them directly. If you're able to kind of shift and make those changes and adjust, you should be totally fine for this incoming generation. Like, I don't want people to panic, like everything thing we know is going to change. But there are some differences. Like traditions are being reimagined, which I think is like fun and exciting. But then again, like I mentioned, also some parents are still paying for the wedding. So some traditions are like resurfacing. It's really just, it's just another transitional period, it seems. And so staying open to like reading reports, getting insights, understanding what's coming before it comes is kind of my advice for like navigating this new era.
I love that. And I agree. I feel like couples are getting a lot more creative. Like, of course, can only mostly speak to the wedding officiant space, but like even something for me and Whitney, like to be Black women officiants with like natural hair or like locks is not what guests are expecting, these days when we walk in a room and like we up there on the stage and we got the microphone, they like, okay, she about to sing. Like, is she going to, make the announcement and then pass it on? Yeah. Because that was true, because the reality is like, back in the day, we used to see mostly clergy leaders, like someone within the religious space, or judges somewhere within the courthouse space, right? But like now couples, they don't want to get married at churches. Maybe they don't want to have a religious element. Maybe they don't want to go through the prerequisites that the church, requires them to do. And same thing with a courthouse. Maybe they don't want to be married in a courthouse. Maybe they don't want to be married by no judge. Maybe I want to go to the park. Maybe I want to get married on a yacht, on the top of a mountain, right? So you see so much creativity for us as officiants, because people are not just getting married in buildings anymore. They're not just doing it in a venue anymore, at a church anymore. They're doing it a little bit of everywhere now. And we want to be creative with it. We don't want the traditional vows. We want the love story. We don't want to, walk down through this type of way. We want to reimagine what my mama did, what my grandmama did, and what her cousins and all the people before me did. I want to do something a little bit different. Maybe still honor it, but just give it a new feel and meaning and vibe to it. I agree. Yeah,
absolutely. And so, talking about bringing like no one really expecting us to be the officiants, basically, like I'm telling you, like we walk in and people are like, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Baby, I'm telling you, if you don't let me in this door, there is no wedding. Like, and so speaking to that, like we've experienced it, but on a larger scale in your experience, what obstacles have you noticed in the wedding industry that are specific hurdles to underrepresented communities?
Yeah, that is a great question. I would say it really goes back to those conversations we were having around creating the Fellowship for Change program. Like, what are the major hurdles and how can we help navigate those? I would honestly say, apart from like wedding day, I won't say behavior, but like shenanigans.
Right. Yes.
Honestly, access to funding and support. And then I would also add in like networking opportunities, but I mean in more so of an impactful way, like Whitney, like you were speaking to, about like being able to truly find your community and feel comfortable and safe in that. I think those stand out in my mind as some major hurdles, because if you're the only person in your friend group, let's say, who's an entrepreneur, and you happen to be an entrepreneur in the wedding industry, it's like you really might not have a network at all.
Yeah.
And you can Google and look for some grants, and you can Google and look for some things to apply for. But as we all know, like historically, they're not being granted at the same rate to underrepresented business owners. So those, I would say, stand out as like the major roadblocks that a lot of small business owners face if they are from underrepresented backgrounds.
Yeah.
I love that. So on the flip side of that, right? Let's get a conversation going about what are some creative, solutions to some of the challenges that you mentioned. What invitations do we see in the wedding industry that allow us to kind of, like I said, create solutions to some of these problems? So I know it's like the Fellowship for Change program, obviously. obviously, is one, but what other ones did you have? Or even Whitney too, like, what other creative solutions do you have? Because I feel like we always talk about instead of pulling up a seat at this table, create your own table, right? So I guess what I'm saying is, what are these opportunities to create our own table and then invite people to our table instead of trying to get in, to a space that is not, they ain't got no space for us. It just don't got no space for us. And that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. And I think that's the other piece, is that we need to recognize that some things are okay. And that's why you have the opportunity to create. So yes, let's get into that.
I have one to plug. Some of our mentors, as well as advisory board members, and even some of our educators are part of the National Society for Black Wedding Event Professionals.
Oh, okay. I think I heard
And
that one.
Really?
So,
again, a link I will be sending to you after this. They do different events, both in person and I believe online, to literally do the work that we are speaking to for specifically Black wedding event professionals. So that is a table that is open, and there are plenty of seats. So sit on down with them. And I also would like to say, you all and this platform is definitely being part of the solution. You all got together, started a podcast, and are opening doors for these important conversations, of course. But I also know that in your businesses, your collaborations and other things that you're doing behind the scenes are to open the door and hold it open for the people that are coming behind you. So the work is being done.
The work is being done. Thank you for that. Look, I received those flowers. Okay. Listen, because it's true. It's always like, if you don't see it, then it probably is because you were meant to create it.
Yeah.
That's how I hold it. I did not, when I was getting married, I didn't have me as an option. I would have loved me to have officiated my wedding. Like, the girl is cold. I was like, oh, that would have been tight. And it was like, I didn't have those options. It was very white male dominated or clergy male dominated. And I was like, I don't want none of that.
It's hilarious because it's absolutely true. And it's a reason literally why we are in business right now. Literally why. I remember when I booked my first wedding and I asked my couple, why did they choose me? They were like, we knew we wanted a Black woman to marry us. And we saw you. We saw that you have locks. Locks are a selling point. Play with somebody else.
Literally.
Selling points.
Baby. It was like,
period. Yeah, so it's like that's so true, Whitney. Like, what you're saying is like, when you see one, you can see a hole and want to be able to fill that hole, or you can hear people. You don't even have to see it. You could just hear people talking about what it is that they want or what they don't see, and create that as well. So there's so many opportunities out here for us to be creative as business owners, specifically as minority business owners, because if we are feeling like something is missing, more than likely whoever will benefit from that thing also feels like it's missing, or they can at least have another option, because it's different options too, right? I'm not the only Black female officiant in New Jersey. I'm not. I got Rev Roxy out here. Okay. That's stiff competition, not competition, but you get what I'm saying. You have options and opportunities and different people you can work with. So it's something about what you bring to the table, finding out your unique selling points and what your quirks are, that's going to draw people to you. And I think that that's just something that is not spoken about enough. I feel like we talk so much about the challenges, but not really about the creative opportunities for solutions. So I appreciate y'all for that.
I mean, and it's so wild because literally, when I first started out, I was in clergy attire, and I was like really bored. And I was like, but speaking to Camille, we were talking about your personal brand. I was like, I do not dress like this. on a daily.
Yep.
So then I started dressing, like just putting my fly on my outfits. And that's when it started going up. There's like, hey, I want you to wear that dress with them shoes on slide 2 that I saw on Instagram. Like people. And so now it's a part of my questionnaire. How can I match your fly?
I don't know. I'm like,
the language.
A glasses option, because I'm always looking
Listen,
at
I'm telling you all of it. I'm like, look, I feel like a Barbie. I'm like, hi. Well, how do you want me to dress today? And that is like one of the things that I love about it, because that brings in you don't want your officiant up there looking frumpy. I mean, not if I'm fly and then you got what you got on.
Yes.
You and my pictures looking frumpy. No.
And they looking. That's another selling point. They're looking not only to see what couples you work with and seeing themselves in the couples you work with, but they want to see you okay. They want to see you. They want to see what you're working with, how you coming, how you showing up, your professionalism, how you're dressing, just all of that, because it is a aesthetic type of day as well. Like, let's not play around. Like, people do not spend money on photography and videography. So it's important to them how you show up. And it's great that you ask that question of what do you want me to show up? Do you want me to match your fly? Do you want me to, wear this? Do you want me to wear that? And there are, that's also, again, a unique selling point, because some people ain't changing what they wearing. So I wear this color top and this color bottom, and that's just what I wear. So the fact that you create an option for people to pick, do I want you to match my bridal party? Do I want you to be completely opposite of my bridal party? Girl, you can wear whatever you want. It just better not be white. Where are we going with it? Where are we going?
All of that. I mean, I've had all of those conversations, and then it's also a personality piece where you get to connect with your couple. Yeah. Because, I mean, my shoes have been selling points to a lot of brides. Yeah. Like, look, I ain't even, look, like, this shoe right here. This shoe right here. Yeah. Baby, I have gotten many leads off that shoe. Okay. But it's me. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go. And so recognizing that's the creativity that we get to do in those challenging moments. And so when I talk about dress and being fly or whatever, I use social media. Like, a lot of people are like, hey, I saw you on social media, highlight that. So how does social media presence impact a wedding business? And is it necessary to have one? I mean, what you thinking, social media aficionado? What you think?
Also, feeling that I'm literally going to change my email signature to social media aficionado.
I think you should.
That is huge. And it's so funny. As you were describing like all the different outfits, I was thinking, oh, well, I would want to see this on social. Like, I would want to swipe through and see what I want my officiant to dress in. Like, I want to see the options. At this point, it is, I don't want to say a non-negotiable and be so dramatic, but it is a huge advantage to be on social media. If we're calling out platforms, I'm going to say Instagram is like baseline. And if you want a gold star from me, you're also on TikTok. I'm going to just leave it like that. Because again, like, Gen Z is starting to enter the marrying age. And I don't want to also become, am I the Gen Z aficionado of my generation? But we're looking. We're looking through all your stuff. We're planning, we're making folders and files and Pinterest boards, and we're doing all the things, capturing inspo, looking at your shoes, like seeing what that cake is looking like on the inside and the outside, seeing what those flowers look like in this lighting and that lighting. We're looking, and we want to see the materials. So show us the materials. Like, so many Gen Z couples are connecting, of course, on the Knot, like through our marketplace with their vendors, but they're also, other than your website, looking into your socials to see, what do your weddings really look like? What do they feel like? What frames is Whitney going to be wearing potentially at my wedding?
I'm telling you.
And like, again, like, what's your personality like? You can't really get that from a website. You can't 100% get that from a storefront. And so social media is just a great, again, like, addition to be able to showcase all that you're bringing to the table. And at this point, it's like, come on, why not join us? Join us on the internet.
Join us.
No, I mean, it's definitely a get with it or get left behind, type of situation. And it's crazy because I have seen a change in my leads to like switching to like social media being my primary like lead source, and couples literally like, oh, I found you on Instagram, I found you on Facebook, I found you on TikTok. And it makes a difference because it's like your humor. They want to see if your humor match their humor, right? Especially when you have these young, fun, creative couples who don't want no boring wedding, who want to laugh during their ceremony, and they want their guests to be engaged and entertained. So they're looking, like you said, at your personality, at how you're showing up, at what you think is funny. They're looking at your inspo. I have now like a bride now that I'm working with, and she has sister locks. So now we're talking about sister lock hairstyles for her wedding. And so it's like, it's these kind of conversations that you have when your couples are so aligned with who you are because of how you showed up online. They were able to find you and be like, oh, I feel like I'm gonna be seen by her. I feel like I'm gonna be heard by her. I feel like we're gonna have things in common. And then they meet you in that consultation and the vibes check out. And then next thing you know, you're another amazing vendor added to their dream day, dream team. So I ain't no social media. What is it? A fashionado? Okay, I can't even say it. That's how much I ain't it. But
we know somebody who knows somebody.
But I know somebody, period. So it's just like, it does make, such a difference, and it can positively impact your business, and it can create a great connection tool, like you said, to these couples, to the couples that are of marrying age who care about this and are being very intentional about who it is that they're choosing, sometimes regardless of the budget.
Baby.
Listen.
Baby.
That's why I put it in quotes.
Right.
Quotes.
Baby.
Because there is one, but even now, I know people are like worried about the economy and things of that nature, but even today, even now, like in our Real Wedding Study, we have insights around the fact that couples are still opening their wallets when it comes to their wedding day.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, when they're originally crafting that budget, they don't know how much anything costs.
Yeah.
They don't know. Most of them have never gotten married before. So it's like an officiant. I don't know, like, how much would that be? But they're just guessing. How much are florals? Like, there's all the venue, all these things they don't know. And so once they start having conversations, looking at your storefront, reading your reviews, going through your website, social media, then it's like, oh, I really want to book Tiara. Like, I really need her. I'm gonna have to open my wallet, and that's okay.
Yeah,
because
you're right. I'm gonna have to figure it out.
I know what I'm gonna get. I know what I'm gonna get, and I want that. I need it. So
it's like, people will do that, because I've had people who've like, hey, you're out of my budget, and I said, every officiant isn't for every person, and so that's my response. And they were like, granted, but grandma gave us, extra couple dollars, so you are officiant. Look, listen, I mean,
seriously, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. I love that. I love this conversation. Okay, so we are going to have to be wrapping it up soon. We cannot keep Miss Camille away from all of her important duties.
Is she aficionado, remember?
Okay, right. She holds it down. But we would love to know, were there any questions that you wish we asked that we didn't?
Ooh. I honestly thought this is like left field. I thought she would ask me, and this is so, why would you ask me that? If I had like inspo, like wedding dress inspo, or like who like trends and things. Again, why would you ask me? But this was going through my mind this morning. I was like, what would I say? And specifically, I don't know why also, I thought you would ask me about like a Disney, like what Disney princess would you like, if you had to be a princess, whose wedding inspo like are we stealing? That is insane.
That's because you had that mind, Camille, because like but you have a pulse on the actual industry. Like, these are the things that people are asking for. They are asking, we're not asking it, but they are asking for it.
I asking.
Yeah.
Well, I have an answer. I can tell you. That's so weird. I have a better question I wish you asked as well. But I would say my answer was going to be, if you asked me like who's inspo or like whose wedding inspo would I steal, my answer was actually I would steal Halle Bailey's press tour for The Little Mermaid.
Ooh.
I think her outfits on the red carpet.
Yeah.
It was honestly like her own, like, you know, they're doing the bridal wardrobe now. I feel like Zendaya and her, how they dress like the movie is kind of like their own version of like the capsule like bridal wardrobe.
I love that.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh. Now I'm over here looking like, so to answer that question, because you didn't ask me, but I want to answer it too. Fantasia on how she has been on her press tour for The Color Purple. Woo, baby. I was like, bam, bam. I need it.
So good. So bold. Oh, just so rich.
Yeah. No, that's a good one. Okay, let me think. Shoot. Oh man, to be honest with you, I think I want to do custom. I don't know that I have like an inspo. I think I would love to work with someone who has like out of box designs. Someone like Jasmine. I love it. Shameless plug. Yes, shameless plug
for you.
Love her. I'm pretty sure her business name is Page 17 by Jasmine. Yes. Okay, period. She had some styles that were it was just creative. Like you could tell it was bridal inspired, but it didn't really necessarily, like it just had that boom to it, some volume, some oomph. And like, I think that's what I want. I want something you ain't seen before. I don't want something that's like, that I can get at like a warehouse somewhere. I want something from here.
Ooh.
Yeah. And you wanna, because
I need to come on, let's get it. I mean, and it's so perfect that you are having this conversation, because guess who engaged in a whole engaged.
So Beyonce, my fiance ever.
I need that collab to actually happen.
Girl,
I'm a little invested.
Yes,
that was crazy.
I would love that. But that was such a good question. Oh my gosh, thank you, Camille.
Listen, come through.
The only other thing I thought you might ask is like, what new vendor like categories am I excited about or like think are really cool? And have an answer for you.
Yeah.
What is it?
The content and like maybe I'm biased. The content creators to me is becoming like it's becoming everything. I can't lie. I've done it for 2 weddings also, and I'm getting that content. Not even same day. The minute it happens, I can send you the pictures of your first. You know, like period. It's not a great picture. It's not a perfect picture.
Right.
But to have something to post on your Instagram story, which feels maybe like not the biggest deal to some people. Some people, that is a big
deal. A big deal.
Absolutely.
To have the like the perfect moments or like the most aesthetic table setting pictures and like a flat lay, to have it same hour, same minute.
Yeah.
Chef's kiss.
Agreed.
I'm loving the chef's kiss from the aficionado.
No, that is so good. Honestly, I would also have to agree with you. I think that's the one. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I lied. I do love social media content creators. I do, advocate for them. I have one in Jersey, Loretta, that I love. Yeah, I love. I'm trying to get her into the fellowship. Okay, period. But because I know she would benefit. But it's a trend that I've seen a couple of times. It's not necessarily a vendor, but it's something that I want to see continue. And it is when the first partner, the bride, whatever, is walking down the aisle, and it's like that auditory message, like that surprise, like audio that's playing as they're walking down the aisle. It's so beautiful. Like, it's just, you can tell like the other partner is just like caught off guard. They're just like, wait, like what? And it's like almost like it's like they're either saying like a poem or a love letter, but it's like, let's say, all right, so if I was to say something to my fiance, it'd be like, oh, Ian, this is our wedding day. I'm so excited to marry you. I'm walking towards you right now. I can't wait to start, our lives together. But he has no idea it's coming. Nobody knows it's coming. It's just me and the DJ. And it's just like a surprise in that moment. And I've seen a couple of them, and everyone I've teared, every single one. So it's not a vendor. I don't know who will help you do that. It's not a vendor, but it's a
content creator.
Right. You content creator, right, period. Yes. Yep.
Oh, I love this. Look, I got goosebumps. Right?
It's just such a beautiful moment. Yeah, I love those. Yeah. So good. Oh man, did you have one, Whitney?
No, I am.
Okay. Oh man, that is so funny. Oh, well, I love this conversation. It has been so good. I think my cup is empty, but Camille, thank you so much.
Right, that's what I heard. Right? I was like, wait a minute.
It's full, but it's okay. It's warm. It was cold, but no, it's fine.
I love the conversation. We thank you so much for your time, for your expertise, for your vision, for speaking life into our melanated, couples, wedding pros, people who are interested in coming into the industry, just speaking to all of us and getting us excited about just like the social impact that we have on the wedding industry. I would love for you to drop, of course, the socials. How can people connect with you? How can they find the Fellowship for Change program if they're interested in applying? And one last question. Typically I see sometimes either the bride, most likely the bride, but after they get married, they have an interest in the wedding industry and want to maybe become a vendor or start a business, whether they did like a DIY and now decide they want to do event decoration, balloon artistry, vendor rentals, any of those things. Is the Fellowship for Change program a good opportunity for them as well? Like, is it only for people who know they want to be in the wedding industry or people who are kind of trying to see if they want to be in the wedding industry?
Yeah, I would say it works best, as I'm sure you kind of both can attest to, if you already have a business in the wedding industry, so that we have something for you and your mentor to discuss. If you're still interested in like, you're in a journey, self-discovery, you want to try it out, our blog on our Wedding Pro website has really great resources for people that are just starting out or just throwing around the idea. But if you are committed to your business and are still new in business but want to take it to the next level, then I would say the Fellowship would be more of a better fit.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So yes, where can they find the application for Fellowship for Change, and what are your socials? How can they connect with you?
Awesome. So please follow us at Wedding Pro on all platforms. We actually just hit 100K followers on our Instagram.
Hey.
So please join our growing pro community. And if you want to learn more about Fellowship for Change, we post things on our socials, of course, but I recommend you visit the Wedding Pro website. And there you'll be able to understand what are the requirements for applying, see when applications open, and learn even more about the program.
Love that. So good. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, y'all, you already know the drill. Thank you for listening to another episode of Filtered Thru Coffee. Please drop your questions or comments down below. Send this to somebody. Send this to somebody. You know what I mean? Send this to somebody. They need to hear this conversation. So we thank you so much, Camille, for again spending time with us, sharing your expertise, sharing your beautiful face, and all of your wonderful, wonderful just predictions about where we are headed in this beautiful industry.
Thank you all. Excited to see what's next for the two of you. Me.
Yes, y'all. Until next time, until we sip again, we'll see y'all. Bye.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Filtered Thru Coffee. We've enjoyed serving up some wedding wisdom with a splash of melanin and some culture. Until we sip again, remember, your wedding journey is like a perfectly brewed cup of coffee. Flavorful, bold, and uniquely yours.